While Uno may not be coming to a casino table near you anytime soon, it doesn't mean it didn't get the roulette wheels spinning in our heads for which top 10 games that we love in our board game collections would make amazing casino games in Vegas. Check it out.
All that I got will never stop, give it all. Straight to the top, will never fly, give it all. All that I have, I let it be, cause nobody's better than me. What do you see? Give it all.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise.
Good gaming champions, and welcome to a deluxeified version, a glitz and glamoury version of Champions of Tabletop. I'm joined by my boy Deon. How are you today, good friend?
Doing great. Got my what did you say, roulette spinning?
Yeah, babies. You bet. Let's get all glitz and I thought about wearing a suit, looking all snazzy, but then that took effort, and I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do it. But
Too much work.
Too much. So we need more views before you get the fancy version. So with that said, we have decided to put a video together where we can present to you the 10 games that we think would do the best in Vegas.
Yeah.
Undoubtedly by now, you have all heard the rumors that Uno was going to come to the show floor of Vegas. And boy, did Board Game Geek blow up with anticipation and excitement, only to find out that the article was a couple months old and that it actually wasn't going to be coming to Vegas. And in fact, just to highlight that, Deon, I've got the article here that I'm going to bring up so everybody can see it with us. And basically, that's exactly what this says is, the game was going to come to Vegas. It was coming to the Sands Casino. The Palms Casino. And really what they were trying to go for was more of a social club,
Yes.
not an actual game, a game on the casino floor.
Now, the back rumors I heard was that Flip 7 claimed to be the best card game ever made. And so Uno played an Uno reverse and said, oh, yeah, now we're going to Vegas, baby. So I don't know if that's, if actually that happened. But when I read it, I was like, holy crap, they're going to play Uno on the floor, which they're not. But I got really excited. And like you said, I got our brains thinking about, man, what would be cool to play in Vegas, board game related, that isn't the obvious,
Yeah. And I think that also just brings up the bigger point of it. Just shows you, again, it's something we've talked about many times on the channel, how big board games are getting in terms of pop culture and notoriety in a lot of different circles. Same thing as somebody like you who was in the video game space for a long time. You saw that happen to video games. And like I said, now we're kind of seeing it with board games.
Yeah, we've always seen video games make their way into board games, but recently we're seeing board games making their way into video games, which is a pretty cool, neat little twist of fate, I should say.
Mhm.
So just like this, even though you can't play Uno on the floor, which I was really upset about because boy, was I going to make somebody draw too. Now I can't play that on the floor of Vegas, ruin my Vegas plans. But, like you said, we started thinking about what would be pretty cool since Vegas gave us all these gyms. I mean, let's think about what gyms Vegas have given to us, right? Like think of some of the board games that Vegas, other than the obvious stuff. I think Flip 7 is derived from just, blackjack that Vegas gave to us, right? It's just another way to play blackjack. Instead of busting by numbers, you're busting by matching, instead of busting by 21.
Well, if we follow the dark money in the board game industry that's obviously there, I bet we'll find a link between some casino group and the op trying to say, hey, let's get these young kids addicted as early as possible. Let's get it in their veins.
Well, we just played at Origins. I just got in the mail yesterday. I should actually
make a jackpot
on camera here. The jackpot game that was obviously inspired by Vegas, where you're flipping.
It's literally a slot machine.
Literally a slot machine and cards. Another one, that the horse racing games that we get that we love so much, that's obviously inspired by horse racing, and Vegas pushes that pretty heavy. with the
Mhm.
what is it, ready, set, bet, long shot. Those are very much what Vegas has
Mhm.
given to us in the board game industry. And of course,
Yeah.
the normal ones like Vegas Showdown, and those are all Vegas themed, but still have a lot of like Vegas feel too that you can feel that Vegas has given to us. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head, but
Well, I know we had talked to, games like Wits and
Wits
Wagers
and Wagers, yes.
could kind of be in that same vein. And so, I mean, the thing is, if we're being truthful here, you can turn almost anything into a casino game if you really wanted to. But what we decided to do was we took a little bit of time and kind of noodled it around, and we wanted to make sure that we didn't go over 21 with any of our ideas. So that way we could come up with some real winners here. That's a blackjack joke. I saw you really struggling with that one. It's a straight blackjack joke right off the top of the dome.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Um, that's why we're at, buddy. But yeah, so we thought of the idea here of coming up with our top 10. So with that said, we're gonna go ahead and jump to our number 10 best board game into a casino idea. So Dion, our number 10 to kick this off is gonna be a game that many, many people have played out there. It came out in 2019, and that is gonna be The Crew, The Quest for Planet 9. And kind of what we had come up with for this list, Dion, to kind of think through it was we had kind of come up with the idea of players being able to bet on their ability to win specific tricks. They could complete mini missions like capturing certain cards against the house dealer with the casino. They could have payouts that could scale based on mission difficulties or speed, with side bets on card distribution or the number of tricks won. And you could have a digital version that could add a timer for extra intensity and really trying to stress the player to kind of give it more of a poker-like experience. So that's kind of what we come up with with number 10.
Yeah, I think I think it falls in that card game category for me, trick taking. So any game that is already currently like being played in Vegas, given to us, and then turn around and spit back to them. The Crew fits there. I think that's why it falls under our number 10 for us. It's not near the top because of that reason, but I could see that utilizing, setting at a table and playing The Crew. Um, even with just regular cards, I think they would be, you could easily make that work.
Yeah. I agree with you because there's other games like Lord of the Rings, new trick taking game that came out too. And I think any of these just pure trick takers, they're always going to be, I mean, the idea itself feels very Vegas-y to me. So
Yeah.
again, anytime you get such important card play involved, I think it's going to always lend itself to, yeah, there could be a way to Vegas-size this. Or what was that term you coined off air that we want to get on air so we can own it and copyright it?
Vegas eyes, Vegas eyes. I think when we were discussing these,
Sounded way cooler when you said it off air, but
it did
it'll work.
way better, and I was like, we need to use that, and then now it doesn't sound as cool.
But either way, Vegas has an opportunity to really hit a home run with The Crew. Our next one, our number 9, is an oldie but a goodie. But don't worry, this one is now old enough to be legal in a casino, Dion. And that is going to be Can't Stop. So what we had discussed with Can't Stop, Dion, is kind of having a few different phases within this. Effectively, we gave it a new name of Can't Stop Vegas Climb. Playing on like a digital or physical board, you'd have a live dealer, you'd have a touchscreen interface to it as well. And we kind of came up with 3 phases of the game that you would play with. First is you're going to have the betting phase, which we kind of thought of players could wager chips on advancing specific columns or achieving milestones. You could advance or have side bets, including predicting which columns would be claimed first or whether a player will bust on their turn. We talked about dice rolling phase. Players could take turns rolling 4 dice, choosing pairs to advance markers. They can stop to lock in progress or push for more of a risk potential for a bust. The house sets a maximum number of rolls, and then the last phase, of course, is going to be the payout phase where payouts can scale based on the column difficulty that you're going to or the speed of completion. So that was kind of what we had come up with for
Yeah.
number 9, Can't Stop.
Well, and it's another for Can't Stop. This one came to us by Shay mentioned this one, and we said, oh yeah, this would work. It's another one like number 10 that we kind of regift, because it feels very much like craps anyway. You're picking the numbers that you're wanting to go with, and then you're rolling those dice trying to create the pair and then move up the stop sign. 7, of course, is easier to make a pair with, so 7 usually gets filled faster. But it's very much a push your luck. It feels like something Vegas has already given us in craps, and then we remarketed it and said, "Oh, but I would love to sit down at a table and play Can't Stop in Vegas. I'd bet I'd play that one. I'm not a very much of a gambler, but I'd gamble on that."
And I can tell you, as somebody who Lady Luck never lives on my side of the street,
Hmm.
I've lost a lot of money on craps, so I would definitely be looking for an alternative dice rolling game at the casino. And Can't Stop would make a really great number 9.
It fit right in.
Our number 8 game that would make a great board game in Vegas is going to be a legendary game. One my kids and my wife actually really enjoy playing, Deon. So no better way to taint that love of a family than throw some Vegas style love behind it. And that's going to be, of course, Quacks of Quedlinburg.
Yeah, that'd be a good one with the push your luck element. I think that'd be fun to play in Vegas. Bet on whether or not you're going to how far you can get up the cauldron,
Mhm.
or I think you mentioned something about adding chips in or taking chips out to
Mhm.
if the house can justify that, to make sure that you bust. Betting on whether you're going to not, hit a certain number. I
Mhm.
think that'd be fun. And then not only that, but like double my bet and keep going to the next round while I go to the market and buy stuff to give me more of a chance
Mhm.
to build combinations and bet on different combinations, right? I think that would be
Yeah.
a lot of fun to play in Vegas. Quacks of Quedlinburg. I think that would be, which is now remarketing as Quacks, with less attractive art on the box.
Well, we had decided what we would name it, Dion, was going to be Quacks Vegas Brew.
Yeah, there you go. Quacks Vegas
Brewing.
Brew and have like a digital setup or something. That'd be cool.
Yeah, so we had kinda talked about having a digital touch screen. You could have a live dealer, to kinda handle the bags and the chips and the cleanup and everything, and then we kind of said, the betting phase would be, players would wager your chips on your ability to reach specific point thresholds, like 10
Mhm.
points in a round. You could draw specific ingredient combos, like 2 pumpkins or a rare local wheat or something like that. You could have side bets, proc bets, which is all what Vegas is all about, is taking any game and throw as many proc bets as you can. So you could have predicting whether somebody else is going to bust or if they're going to get a total number of chips drawn. So you got a way to kind of put little side bets on there for the drawing. The brewing phase, players could draw chips from this bag or even do like a digital type of bag. So that way the casino can truly control it. And then you could place them on this like cauldron type of board that you would have. And then you would choose to stop or continue after each draw, risking a bust, of course, which is the whole purpose of the game. And
Hmm.
then you could have the house put in like a number of chips to help kind of control the odds and everything. Because let's be honest, Dion, the casino never allows a game in there that the odds are not in their favor.
Right.
And then basically you could have multiple players compete and do it simultaneous if you wanted to. And then, of course, the payout phase, we said what we looked at was you could have scale based on points scored or specific chip combos achieved or some sort of progressive jackpot because the casinos are all about progressive jackpots and look at the progressive number now and now you can win a car and you can have all those kind of things with this. And of course, like you could have like the cool bubbling cauldron, maybe have some smoke coming out, maybe some witches cackling all around it. So from the Vegas perspective, you could get some really cool animations around this too.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet. I think I would lose everything because every time I played this game, I lost. I was sure a lot because I always push my luck a little too much. So it'd
Yeah.
be fun. I think this would be a nice one to actually set at a Vegas table. I'd enjoy this one.
I think you've not listened to Kenny Rogers enough.
Yeah,
You got to know when to
hold 'em.
hold them,
Yeah,
know when to hold them,
not this game,
and
buddy.
most importantly, know when to walk away.
Because the punishment in the game, when you play the game, you've played with your family. So the punishment isn't that bad. It's like, oh, I don't get my this and that, but I still get to go to the
Mhm.
market and I still get to do everything. So, I mean, you almost want it encourages you to push, So I think adding that element in to encourage me to hit like certain markers on the board to accomplish certain payouts, I think would be very enticing for me to be like, I'm going to go again, hit me again,
Yeah.
with another thing. And then, like have a cherry bomb go off on your screen because you put it in the cauldron. I think that'd be pretty awesome. I think it'd be fun.
Yeah.
That'd be a good one. You can have this one, Vegas. It's number 8. So
Yeah. You're welcome.
you're welcome, Vegas. You're welcome.
With the 7s, it's got to be good in Vegas. So we're going to go with our lucky number 7. And what better game to have than Seven Wonders Duel? It makes perfect sense. It's all in the name. It's got to be number 7. We just need one more 7 in there, Deon. So Seven Wonders Duel to me makes a lot of sense in the Vegas world because again, it's kind of a game that you can manipulate the card draw, and there's a lot of betting on what cards are going to be flipped over, which again is kind of the quintessential Vegas type of game. So what we had kind of come up with some ideas would be effectively, with this being a 2-player card draw type of game, you could streamline it, have quick rounds, strategic choices about collecting cards for points. You could have, because it's a balance of luck type of game and skill, you could make it, it's perfect for Vegas is what I'm trying to say here. So effectively what we decided, Deon, was players could bet on their ability to collect specific cards. You could have basically like a central display board that everybody could pull from. Then you could have payouts that could scale based on completing sets or achieving milestones, like a science bonus or a military bonus or something. Then you have side bets where they could be more involved in predicting which card types will appear most. And of course, you could have a digital version, which could kind of mimic like a slot machine type of thing with all the animations and the dial spinning. And you can put like almost like an arena type of thing around the table to make you feel like you're in true, ancient Roman times. Have this would be perfect at Caesars, of course. But like I said, just one of those types of games where, again, there's so many opportunity for proc bets of what card's going to pop up next when you get to the next row. And again, the combinations that you can pull. And again, a lot of it could be done digitally without you even having to touch the board.
Yeah, you can find me at the Lord of the Rings one. That's where you'll find me.
Journey to the Middle Earth, right?
Yeah, the Journey to the Middle Earth one. That's where you'll find me.
No, the Lord. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
not the Journey to Middle Earth. It's the Seven Wonders Duel, Lord of the Rings.
Yep.
Yeah, that's where you'll find me.
Yep. Seven Wonders Duel has got a pretty big recognition. It's the 4th best game on BGG's list of all time. Or I should say Seven Wonders is. But Duels is a part of that. So I think it's got a lot of brand recognition. I think this would be pretty interesting on the show floor.
Yeah, I think that any game from our video that is made into a Vegas game should pay us royalties. I agree.
Yeah, we need to pay for editors, man. Like, expensive out here. It's
Get up,
expensive out here.
Asmodee. Let's all work together. Vegas, Asmodee, Champions of Tabletop.
That's right. That's right.
That's
We
right.
can put our smiling faces on the game.
Hey, we'll come out and play it.
All right, Deon, our number 6 can be found in the bowels of the casino. That's where the furnace is. And Deon, I know you were really excited about this one. What made you like furnace so much?
Well, it already has like a bidding element in it, right? Where you're trying to bid and get the cards, but there's also the strategy where you're also trying to lose some of the cards. You just want the resource in order to fire it off on your engine that you're building, and it's an engine building system. When we discussed it, there was multiple ways that you could probably turn this and twist this into a without changing the rules, and still having an element of bidding for certain cards, maybe with real money, and then being able to fire off your engine better than the guy next to you, maybe turning in being able to turn coal directly into gold in one turn when you do the production phase, maybe getting a bonus for that. I think that would be pretty neat. I think I would furnace when I was sitting here to hit me in my head, I was like, oh, that's a good one. Or It's a Wonderful World, either one of those. I like It's a Wonderful World better, but Furnace has a bidding element in it, where It's a Wonderful World has a drafting element, but Furnace, I think, is the better one for Vegas. And it's a top.
Totally, it kind of
Come on, a top hat.
is classy. He's
I think
classy. He's ready for the nighttime.
yeah, it's night. I don't know.
I would take that guy serious at the poker table.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that
Mhm.
looks like
It means business.
does look like somebody that's going to take all your money. Maybe in the
He's not
20s.
he's not there for games, Dion. He's not there for games. He doesn't have time. Poppycock is what he would say to that.
Poppycock.
He would say, "Tonight we roll, gentlemen." Yeah, so what we had kind of talked about is a way to kind of adapt this game into the casino world. We talked about for the auction portion of it, players could wager chips on winning specific factory cards from a central kind of display of maybe like 3 to 5 cards. You could have people using chips, of course, money, with the house setting a minimum bid of like 5 or 10, kind of like craps you would have. Players could also bet on outcomes like highest bidder on a steel factory or, total bids exceeding 50, 100, or high rollers club 10,000. If outbid, players could receive resource tokens like coal or oil chips as compensation, kind of mimicking the game's original mechanics.
Yeah.
And then you could have it again, like a lot of these. And if you go to a casino now, most things are digital. I've played digital craps, I've played digital poker. I mean, digital is kind of the way to go, and it makes things look really pretty. But you could kind of have a digital display that would reveal, all of the information. Then from the production, like betting phase of everything, you could have players who win factories. They wager on the resource conversion outcomes. So you could convert coal to iron for like double payout. You could have factories have a simplified conversion track. There's a lot of things that you could do, or even the house would limit conversions to one per round to kind of speed it up as well. So there's a lot of things you could do with that. And then side bets, of course, allowing wagering on total resources collected. You'd have the total number of factories won in a round or a specific card effect, a progressive jackpot rewards, a rare industrial empire or something to that effect. So a lot of things that you could do with those proc bettings again, just to add some additional ways to let the house win more of your money, basically.
Yeah, right. To lose more or win more, mainly lose your money.
Yes. Donate more, please, because they
You win
need
a
it.
top hat, you get a discount on your first bet. That's what I heard. Just what I heard. I don't know if that's
So
true.
that is, yeah. Well, hey, we're making it up, so that is the rule now.
That's the rule. So
That's the rule, and that's our number 6.
that's on number 6.
So our number 5 is a new one to most people who don't watch our channel, but it's going to be one you're seeing a lot on our channel because it's quickly become one of our favorite new games. Our number 5 is literally already built for Vegas, and it's called Huddle, the fantasy football game. Dion, I mean, to be frank with you, we talked about this. There really isn't a whole lot more that you need to Vegasize this other than, as you see right here, the chips.
Yeah, the real money.
Just make that real money.
Yeah,
Done.
done. Vegasize it, real money, and then roll the dice, outscore your partner or your opponent, based on how well you built your team. And you have bets, and there's like a total, all the money that you're putting in goes into this big pot. Whoever wins the biggest score takes the majority. That's simple.
Yeah.
Done. Game over. Although
this one is literally like we tried to be like extra create. We tried to be extra creative with this of like how could we manipulate this further in the Vegas style, but the simple fact is this one is just simple. Like just use real money instead of the poker chips and make it kind of like a Texas Hold'em type of environment. So not necessarily like you versus the house or the dealer per se, but this one could be more of like you see them all at the Texas Hold'em area. This would be it. So you're all just, how portion goes to the house, just like in Texas Hold'em does. You play a mano against other people. Vegas loves it. You're chucking dice. Fantasy football.
The house can look at what your team is and give you like what they feel like your score could be. And you can bet that you're going to over it or under it, right? Or something, right?
Yeah.
Like easy side bet.
That is the product right there.
It's a side bet. The rule in this one though is you have to talk crap to people at the table. If you don't, you can't, like, you lose. You have to pay to not talk. So you either have to pay another to the middle, you have to put a chip in the middle, or you have to say something super intelligent or super, what do we call it, message boardy to the person across the table that you're playing. I think that is only fair. And then you don't even have to swap places of anybody. It just in front of you, the digital screen just shows who you're competing against. That would be awesome. I've got you.
I feel like at this point we've already given Dylan like 15 new rules for the game, whether he wants them or not. But
This is a
Vegas game.
Huddle Vegas style. It's already it's fantasy football, which is already Vegas has already made super popular, right? So it's just adding bidding added on with some dice rolling, and you got a intelligent way to set at a table and play against each other and talk a bunch of crap to each other and bet against it. Now we're adding real money. Congratulations.
Even better when it's that Eastern European guy with a complete sharp jawline, weighs 225, 1% body mass or body fat. Yeah, you still got to talk trash to that guy.
That guy,
His name is Drago. You.
Bro, either you got to put in money because you're like, I'm not running my mouth to this guy, or you actually
I'm not talking to that guy.
Yeah,
that guy has murdered people.
Is your quarterback even playing this game as you're rolling your dice? And yes,
and then he just looks at you and says, "I will break you.
I will break you."
No, Drago, no. Huddle number 5, easy one.
That's a good one. So you brought us number 4 here because we're at number 4 now. And you brought this to me and you were like, picture this. And I was like, no. As you kept going and pitching the different ways that you could Vegasize it, I thought, yeah, maybe. And it kind of worked its way into my top 5 here. So at number 4, we have Carcassonne.
We're going all the way back to the year 2000. That's a Conan O'Brien joke for those of you out there. Hey, based on YouTube statistics, that's the heart of our audience is people who will get that's Conan O'Brien.
Okay.
But yeah, Deon. So we, kind of thinking about this one, it was a little out of the box. So our top 5 are going to be games that I don't think many people would have thought of because these are going to be more traditional style board games. But Carcassonne was one just because with tile lay mechanics, random draw, strategic placement like poker, there's going to be a lot of ways you can work this in. So what we had come up with was basically for tile phases, you could have players wager chips on drawing and completing specific features like a city worth 10 points or a road worth 5 points or 5+ tiles. You could have placing meeples on high value tiles or whether a feature will be completed in the round, something like that. The house draws tiles from a digital or physical stack. Again, Vegas is weird. They don't want you touching stuff. So I think, again, a lot of this I think would be digital. And then you would have them reveal them with a slot machine style animation just to kind of, again, flashy, jiggle the keys in front of somebody's face. Then in the placement phase, you've got players taking turns placing tiles on a shared or some sort of like big individualized board. You could have betting on where to place the meeples, like $10 on a city meeple, scoring 8 points. The house limits each player to like 1 or 2 meeples, something, you could play around with that, but just something to kind of keep it fast paced because people only stay at a table so long. Players can bet against each other or the house, which operates as kind of like a house meeple with fixed scoring to ensure like the house always has the edge because like we said they always got to have the edge. And then the last thing was like the payout part where payouts will be scaled based on like a feature completion, like 2x for a 5 road or 5x for a 12-point city or something like that. Progressive jackpot rewarding a rare medieval masterpiece. Bonus bets could allow for wagering on total points scored or the total number of tiles placed without completing a feature. So you do this for a couple rounds. Again, have a digital interface displaying everything for everybody to see as they're walking past. You could have, again, a live dealer if you want to. You could have like a big growing medieval landscape and glowing score trackers and There's a lot of things that Vegas could do with this to really visually attract people into it.
Vegas.
That I think would make this again, yeah, a game that you just would never expect. But I think it could easily be made into a real Vegas game.
Yeah, and as you were going back over that, another couple games popped in my head, like Dorf Romantic, which is very similar to the Carcassonne, but that is made as a cooperative game, or you could play the Dorf Romantic
Mhm.
duel where you're competing against each other type of thing. So yeah, very similar in that realm, but Carcassonne
Mhm.
are number 4. And if you haven't played
Yeah,
this,
and
you live under a rock.
you brought up Dorfromantic. You brought up Dorfromantic Duel, and that's the thing. Like we brought it up with Seven Wonders Duel too. I think another game we talked about was like King of Tokyo Duel, where you could have like proc bets on how many dice are going to be rolled for attacks or how
Yeah,
many would be rolled to collect energy. So there was a lot that we put around games like that, and I think any game, honestly, that has a duel feature where you could go head to head versus the house, if you will, a dealer or something. I think all of those could make it. I think the hard part for this, and actually number 3 will fix this problem. You gotta have the ability to get a lot of people at a table because again, they don't care if you're actually having fun. They just want to churn and burn you through. And some of these like one-on-one type of things, I think that'd be too much labor committed to just one table unless there was a way to extract a lot of revenue from you in that time they spend with you. But I think our number 3 coming up is gonna actually address that because it would get more people around the board at the same time.
yeah.
So, but our number 4, Carcassonne.
Carcassonne.
Coming into the show position, Dion, it's going to be our number 3, and that is going to be Heat. Pedal to the metal.
Yep.
And I loved this one because I know we had initially talked about you had brought up the idea of like Thunder Road Vendetta, and it got me really thinking about Heat because one of the things with Heat is, especially with this new expansion, they rolled it out to 8 cars in the game. And what went through my mind was basically the house gets at minimum 4 cars, but they could scale it to give themselves more of a house advantage. You get your singular car. And the ways that we kind of envisioned adopting this, because let's be honest, F1 just started racing in Vegas 2 years ago. So you already have your tie in. You could put F1 heat to this. I mean, you could put the F1 logo all over this thing and really ramp it up. But what we came up with was basically players could wager chips on crossing the finish line first, reaching specific track positions, achieving milestones without spinning out, or like boost without spinning out or something like that. You could have side bets predicting the number of heat cards that would be spent, whether a player will spin out or not, kind of like craps rolling a 7 or something to that effect. And then in terms of the racing, you could have players pick their gear, yes, pick their gears, play a card from a like digital or a physical. Again, I probably like it's done with all these other games, probably do digital. Then the total card value determines spaces that you move, just like in the game. You could have slipstreaming in there if you want, but players could bet on whether to boost or take a corner aggressively, just like in the regular game. But the house, what they would actually be able to do is maybe add 1 or 2 extra heats cards into each deck. Again, just to ensure that they have that little bit of an advantage. And then for the payouts, what we came up with was basically scored based on race position. So you get certain milestones based on what spot you came in, maybe different track positions. They could trim
Yeah.
down the size of the lap. You'd only do 1 lap to try to churn people through quicker. And again, I think the theme itself, I mean, this would be so easy. Just imagine like you see on the screen, a digital version of this game just showing up with the F1 cars on it. Oh my, it sounds of like cars flying by, crowd noises, somebody spins out because they don't have enough heat to cover the heat cards. And it's just like they spin, crowd makes all the noises, you hear a crash noise. Dion, come on now.
You lose your bet. Yeah, that'd be cool. I think that this is with hand management, which is pretty much poker or any card game that you play as hand management at a table. With that added in with the randomness of the card draw into your own personal deck, I think if you accomplish certain things, maybe you get boosts that you get to draw, which would be kind of cool. Stress cards in your hand, stuff like that. I think they can make this a pretty sweet experience. Maybe even do the one and only, the only way to play the Vegas mat is in Vegas, So they should actually do the real Vegas map. Then you could also, I mean,
Like
tunnel.
in
There's so much extra. The what was the last one? The rain, So you got tunnel vision and
yeah,
the heavy rain.
heavy
Those are
rain.
easy add-ons, right?
And like I said, lots of potential tie-ins because again, you could get the F1 teams being in Vegas with the
Yep.
partnership they have with F1, and I'm sure Days of Wonder would not argue if F1 wanted to put any sort of attachment to this because it's pretty obvious with the track layouts that Monza is in this game, Coda's in this game, and Silverstone's in this game. So F1 reeks all over this game. So yeah, it's an easy tie-in. And like I said, just it's such an easy tie-in with having the house have more cars than you to give them a definitive advantage. Again,
Yeah.
putting more heat cards in your deck, so you have a higher chance of having an issue. So there are things that they could do to dog you down, but God, this would be so much fun.
Yeah, push your luck in hand management. That's perfect. That's Vegas wrote all over.
I'll tell you what, if they have this game out there, I might buy a ticket out there.
Well, I would definitely I lose every time I play Heat, so I wouldn't put money on it, but I could picture a nice I'd sit at a table with a couple other people and see if we can't beat the house, first, second, and third payouts type of thing.
You didn't get my tie-in to our number 2, but that's all right because we're gonna go there right now.
Oh. Oh, two. Matt, you mentioned Ticket to Vegas. Our number 2 is Ticket to Ride, which is another one that you were like, hey, I think this one would work. And I had a very negative review on it. I was like, no way, there's no way. And then as you started explaining it, I was like, maybe I could see that. That would be a fun little Vegas board game to take to play at on a table at a Vegas on the show floor. So you can explain it better than I can because you thought of it.
Ticket to Ride, obviously, in itself is such a well-known type of game, not just within the board game hobby, but I think it's kind of transcended into most even non-board game people would recognize it. And just thematically, you could have your dealers wearing, train engineer costumes and the whistle of a train and the choo-chooing of the train going by. And I think thematically, you could do a lot with this to make it really stand out on the casino floor. But in terms of the game, I mean, to be frank with you, there's not a whole lot that I think, again, think that you need to change with the game per se. Again, it's gonna be more simplified. Again, digital board, just like we talked with all the others. And I think again, you're gonna incorporate these digital cards that would be drawn. And then basically, I think you just kind of have this one's probably even a little more simple than the other ones, but players basically betting on completing specific routes on this board by drawing cards. And then payouts could kind of scale based on route length, speed. You could have, side bets based on specific colors or destinations if they appear or not. And honestly, just having the cards kind of popping up and filling in the different locations on the maps to link things together. Like I said, I think it's I'm trying to think of there's a casino game now that it's a digital type of game that there's just little parts that pop up and you're kind of hoping they all connect for you. And I'm blanking on the name of it right now because it's late when we're filming this. But Dion, I think that this game very easily could fit with a start of a round. Everybody places their bets at that moment before the cards start populating the board, before the pieces start filling in the different gaps of the cities being connected. And I think you just kind of go through and you could play the game pretty quick, rapid production of the cards on the digital screen. I think a lot of people would at least stop and be really entertained by it.
Yeah. I think if you did it with a little bit of changing of the rules, I know the rules stay the same, but after bringing it up, I think that's why it moved closer up, is it's one that everybody knows. Everybody that's in the gaming industry, whether you're new or old, are familiar with Ticket to Ride. It's one of the staples in the system. I would probably bet money that there's a slot machine Ticket to Ride somewhere in Vegas. If not, at least a very train driven one. I would guarantee that. But not just for slots, but for this game here with trying to connect them, what pops out, and then have the maybe computer trying to connect routes, and you've got to bet on which ticket you're going to fulfill first, or which one you can fill quicker, and put bets on that.
Yeah.
And the ticketing system, I think, for me, made me go, oh yeah, that could be something. And I think this one, that's why that stands out, is just thinking of the ideas of how you can utilize this game, and how much fun you could have playing Ticket to Ride.
Because you could also tier it into like, okay, so you're going to get the Montreal, Sault Ste. Marie, the New York, Washington, and the Raleigh to Nashville routes. And, those are kind of your bets, and it'll kind of pre-populate. And I think, it could be a very simple, very non-even engaging game that a lot of people could kind of sit down and put their bets on which routes they think will fill first. And again, there's so many routes within the game. I mean, depending on which version you use, Europe or US, but obviously being in Vegas, we'd use the US version, of course. But like I said, I think it would be very easy to create a true betting system around this game that I think would make it super, super engaging and easy to lose a lot of money in, which is Vegas's favorite words.
House wins.
All right, Vegas, if ever there was a game that should be on your list of games to bring to the Vegas casino floors, this is a game that is found in pretty much every store that sells goods, including board games, that exists in America. We're talking, it's in the Targets, it's in the Walmarts, it's in the mom and pop shop. It's, of course, in Voss Media Board Game Cafe. And that game, Code Names. Deon, am I right?
Yeah, there's so many versions of code names out right now. Like the DC code names, the Marvel code names, just so many different ones. And the thought individually, when you mentioned code names, hidden roll. Oh, could you imagine that at a Vegas table? And you could take any game if code names, you're like, oh, I hate code names, which there are people out there that do. You could take any of your favorite hidden roll game, and turn it into a Vegas style game, which I think would be absolutely amazing to play at a table, with multiple people, and have the house adjusting the, who's who type of thing, or what can be answered or what cannot. Oh, that would be so much fun. I would bet on it and lose a ton of money at it because I'm really bad at hidden roll games. But I think it'd be a blast. That's something that we can give to Vegas that I feel Vegas just doesn't have. Correct me if I'm wrong, Vegas, but I don't think I've ever seen, and it's been a few years since I've been there, a hidden roll style game. I've seen hand management. I've seen push your luck, which almost all games are push your luck in Vegas. But, I've seen card games that we've mentioned. I've seen bidding systems that we've mentioned, multiple mechanics, but I don't think I've ever seen a hidden roll mechanic made into Vegas-size it. And I think you take any of them and it would be a blast. Absolute blast.
Yeah. So what we kind of came up with was basically players wagering on their team's ability to identify their cards based on a single clue within a time limit. Because again, as we've said many times on this list, it's all about churning people through, getting through as quick as possible. So the house could act as kind of like a neutral clue giver, with payouts. They could be based on the number of correct guesses or the speed. And side bets could include things like guessing the assassin's card location or the number of clues that you needed to find out where it was at. And to be frank with you, again, it's a very simple game for anybody who hasn't played it. And I think from the Vegas perspective, the hidden aspect of it, trying to find these things, there are a lot of, this is almost like Minesweep, really, of what you could put into an easy Vegas game. And again, make everything digital, so Vegas could have their control in the ways that they want their control. But you tell me on a digital board, this thing wouldn't look absolutely stunning and really engaging with people. Have the dealers in like Secret Service outfits and things like that. for the thematics of it. But I think you could even have like a tall board in front of you that you could call out like a specific position, like A5 or whatever. And then that's the card that would get revealed. And like I said, I think code names, because of the brand recognition, because of how popular it is, everybody gets it. It's easy to teach the rules. And more importantly, it would be easy for Vegas to clean house because everybody feels lucky. And this is one of those games where it's like, oh, I feel like I can get lucky. And then you don't.
Well, I think there's some skill to this too, which is pretty fun when you add it into just social deduction, right? Hidden role social deduction, however you want to call it. I think I feel like I'm skilled in that area, and I'm horrible at code names, but I'm skilled in some of the other games that have that ability. And I think just playing that, like I said, at a Vegas table would be something I have never experienced in all my trips to Vegas. I've never experienced a hidden role social deduction type of figuring out, you know, who, where, who, what, and everything. I think that would be fun to do. I think it'd be a great Vegas game. I don't even know how the betting would everything would work. Like you said, you could bet on certain areas or time limit or something like that. But I think just playing that would be a blast.
Yeah. And I think honestly, playing any of these would be a blast because as somebody who's been to Vegas and, I walk through and I look at the same things. Here's your blackjack, here's your craps, here's your roulette, here's this. A lot of times, honestly, these games don't really appeal to me. And I think that there's just a growing contingent of especially younger people in their 30s and younger. I don't know that casinos are gonna carry that same glitz and glamour. I know I read an article several years ago that talked about how they're trying to figure out how to get video games into the casino
Oh,
as well in a bigger fashion. And so that's where, like I said, with this whole thing with Uno, it really, I think, if anything, if Palms and all these other casinos were paying attention, I think it tells them there's an audience for this. There's a market of people who would be very interested, not in Ticket to the Ride slot machine, not in those kind of events. I'm talking let's gamify some of these amazing board games because that's the stuff that would get me to Vegas and have a great
Vegas.
time. And I think Dion, we've come up with a phenomenal list.
Yeah, the 10 are great.
What'd you say? You dropped a joke in there. I missed it.
Huh? What did you say?
I said you dropped a joke in there. I missed it.
No, I said Vegasize it. So Vegas, make it Vegasized, right? I think that
Mhm.
the top 10 list is great. I appreciate it. It got me really thinking about some other games that we just completely glossed over, but like Mysterium Park, like that would be a blast to play at a Vegas table. Bet on how quickly you could figure out what your significant or what the person is trying to tell you. That is amazing, right? And the whole time you're yelling at them like you're costing us money. It's already costing us time, but that would be a fun. Some other games in that same genre of gaming. There was another one we were talking about where you're rolling dice and you're placing it on the skull. Um, what was that one? That was we played that one at Gamma.
Emerald Skulls by
Emerald
Fearless
Skulls.
Games.
That's another one that's already feels like Vegas. It just needs the Vegas spot. So anybody
Mhm.
in Vegas that owns a casino, let's do a board game convention and let's Vegasize a lot of these games. I'm there. Sign me up. Send me a ticket. I'll go.
I think I think that's where the World Series of board games takes place is in Vegas.
It is. But let's do a convention for guys aren't good enough to be in the World Series of board gaming. So
The normies.
the norms. Let's do it. Let's
Well,
do it.
Dion, I think we've given Vegas a lot. I think we've given Vegas a lot to think about, and more importantly, I think we've given Champions of Tabletop a lot of potential royalties coming in the future.
Yeah, and I challenge anybody who's watching or listening, pick your list of 3 or 4 or 5 that you think would work really well in Vegas, that we can give to Vegas as the board game community and say, here, Vegas, take this and make something amazing with it and make us come playing it on your floor. I know Uno is not going to be there, but
Absolutely.
hey, maybe we can see Huddle.
Carcassonne.
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 Heat. The Heat would be fun. Oh. Thunder Road Vendetta. I mean,
I
give
don't
us
think we
something.
handle
Give
all
us
night in Heat,
something.
buddy.
Give us something, Vegas. We need something.
So with that, we've gave you quite something tonight. And all we ask in return is just a comment, a like, a subscribe. It means the world to us as we continue to grow our channel on our march to 1,000 so we can become partners on YouTube. So your support means the world to us. It tells us that you want to see more of what we do. Otherwise, we feel unloved. We feel unliked. And it makes us sad at night. Poor Deon has cried himself to sleep many times. So if you've gotten this far in the video, thank you. But the best thanks is just a little comment or like. That means so much more to us.
Subscribe.
Said champions never stop playing. And good night, everybody.